Hi, everyone. We'll just give it one more minute and we'll get started. All right, it looks like we have some people joining. Just a few more seconds and we'll get rolling. All right. Looks like we've got enough to here to get started. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Sarah Fellner, VP of Marketing here at PKWARE. We're really excited to talk to you about all things PK Encrypt for I. With us today, we have Joe Nagel. He's our Manager of Technical Support, and Tate Hamill, Chief Product Innovator of IBM Systems. Both are IBM gurus, so you're in for a treat. Have so much fun with this. And with that, we'll pass it over to Tate to get started.
All right. So thank you very much, Sarah. Appreciate it. And thank you to certainly our customers and partners that have joined us for this short but hopefully very relevant webinar regarding moving from PKZIP to PK Encrypt. And as Sarah mentioned, I brought an old friend of ours in from our second to none support team, Joe Nagel. And I'm going to have Joe with me here and some color commentary as we walk you through our PK Encrypt journey. So given the fact that we've only got 30 minutes for this conversation, let's go ahead and jump right on into this. So, talking about, why are we here today, basically? So, we know that companies have this responsibility to protect the sensitive and PII data of their customers, their employees, and of course, their beneficiaries. And that's exactly what those monstrous regulatory mandates that you see on your screen there attempt to achieve, right? But I think we all know that often the cost of achieving these mandates can be expensive. But certainly that is nothing compared to the costs associated with the fines with regulatory infractions, or even worse, like a data breach that leads to some kind of costly ransom. And then finally, worst of all, is the cost and damage to your company's reputation and certainly any future revenue. So, and just when you thought that all these mandates were already rigid enough, they've all recently undergone this mandate hardening. And essentially, this means that the requirements are being strengthened, with one particular standout in the data security space that catches my eye, and that is end-to-end encryption. And this hardening is really designed to fill in the gaps that are really prominent in today's off-prem data transfers and data sharing. And I think really all too often when we copy data that is encrypted on disk, that data loses its disk-based protection, right? And an unprotected copy often gets inserted into a transfer portal where it gets encrypted again. And then once it arrives at its destination, it gets decrypted and it's just basically free and clear to be seen. So this is the problem, in fact, right? And this process is heavily fragmented, and this is no longer acceptable. So the next part of this conversation is really what's a security conversation without bringing up the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that, of course, is quantum, all things quantum, right? So I think with nearly weekly to monthly breakthroughs in quantum computing, I think the sense of urgency around post-quantum crypto is real. We got the Power 11 is now PQC ready with the delivery of the CEX 8S or the 4770 PCIe crypto card. PKWARE has been working with this card for a little while now when introduced with Z, but regardless, it is delivered. It's got the 3 finalized PQC algorithms that are ready for deployment. Just a quick reminder, the new FIPS standards for PQC are FIPS 203, which is the key encapsulation mechanism, or the wrapper, which is based on Crystal's Kyber for the Star Wars fans. You got FIPS 204, which is the digital signing that's derived from Crystal's dilithium for the Star Trek fans. And I don't know anybody that's a fan of Sphinx, but the FIPS 205 stateless hash digital signing algorithm, again, that's out there as well, another digital signing algorithm, but that one's considered much stronger, but it does, as you would imagine, consume more resources and performance impact. But nonetheless, FIPS 203, 204, 205 have all been delivered via the new 4770 that sits inside that Power 11. So finally, all these items here, though, all this needs automation that is auditable and scalable. And this really is that visibility requirement that we hear so much about when it comes to these audits. So, this really is what is at stake right now. This is the reason why it's important for us to actually have this conversation with you. So, regardless, all these mandates and frameworks have persistent end-to-end data security at their core. All right, so all the reasons that we just discussed are why PK Encrypt really is more relevant today. That's why I just want to spend the next few minutes with you to really discuss how PK Encrypt is well suited to not only replace your existing PKZIP implementation, but actually once upgraded, it actually will act as a springboard for a rapid expansion of utilizing post-quantum crypto and sharing strongly and persistently encrypted data with the distributed world wherever it needs to go. All right, so we're going to dive into these a bit more, but a few quick reasons why PK Encrypt is the ideal replacement for PKZIP in your production environment. First and foremost, it is built on time-tested PKZIP foundation of reliability and stability, right? So many customers have been using this product for decades. So PK Encrypt is built on PKZIP, and I think that you can see that when you look through our users guides, right? It also answers the call for persistent end-to-end encryption of your data, whether that's at rest or on the move. And as always, our encrypted data travels in the world's most portable file type, and that's a zip file, making it 100% cross-platform compatible with other PK Encrypt solutions, or certainly our capabilities on other platforms and environments. So that's kind of real the high level of PK Encrypt, but let's go ahead and take a few moments now to dive into some important features and benefits. So a brief overview here, PK Encrypt. So unbreakable security and flexible options, right? We're talking about leveraging AES 256, various key lengths via the OpenPGP based encryption and signing through the OpenPGP standard, where you would typically secure communication and data exchange with business partners. You could also use the X.509 based encryption, signing and authentication, where you can really broaden that encryption, your encryption options across internal and external workflows. And then we already work seamlessly with IBM cryptographic services and ASP encryption. It's been around for a little while, but we're looking to tighten our integrations with the IBM Security Key Lifecycle Manager for centralized key management and enterprise PKCS11 and KMIP compliant key managers, right? So PKWARE already has the ability to do these things, but now with the 4770 out, we really have an opportunity now to tighten our integration as we really want to do, as we've done on all other platforms. So wherever possible, PKWARE is going to take advantage of the hardware capabilities on that system to enable a more efficient processing, especially when we're dealing with a whole bunch of cryptographic processes and whatnot, right? You don't want that to take place on software. So welcome aboard 4770. We're definitely going to take advantage of it as soon as we get to that point. So, but regardless, PK Encrypt does provide key management and automation, key stores, PKI infrastructure where you can really simplify enterprise-grade cryptographic key management through digital certificate authentication, certificate revocation list checking, automated key discovery and retrieval, or even KeyMaker, where you can actually generate and manage encryption key rings per IBM standards. So, but I said a lot of things right there, but one of the things I really want to emphasize though is how agnostic PKWARE is when it comes to working with keys. Specifically, since all security implementations regarding public and private keys is done to a standard, it would be really kind of funny for me to sit there and say, oh, ours is better, right? That is why we are agnostic. We can use with what you're already using, whether it's defined in a third-party solution, HSM, or whatever, we can work with it or we can replace it. But what I want to emphasize, though, is certainly our ease of use. So with all those great features, you see, there comes some benefits with that, right? So, we hear about data breaches all the time. And at PKWARE, our stance is not what if, but rather when are you going to be breached? I mean, it happens to everybody. It seems to happen to all the people with the best IT budgets and security budgets and whatnot. It really doesn't matter. The problem is the implementations don't go far enough, right? They're not persistently encrypting and protecting that data. So if the bad actor does steal that data, which they eventually will, if it's encrypted, there's nothing they can do with it, right? So you might as well act as if they're going to steal it. So what are you going to do about it? The answer is persistently protect that data at the data source, right? So anyway, so once you've actually achieved that milestone of persistently protecting all that data, you're going to probably usher in a whole new period of rest and reliability in the eyes of your customers and investors. And that really is a big thing. So PK Encrypt really does step up and answer the call for these rigid, hardened regulatory mandates. But again, I got to turn this over to you, Joe. Did I miss anything? I know you've got your ears on the street. Our customers are talking to you. What am I missing here?
I think you missed mentioning that it's going to make the auditors sleep better too. So,
Well, yeah, there certainly is that. Absolutely right. Well, I tell you what, man. So I think one of the last things that we kind of want to talk about, and again, I might as well hand this over to Joe because Joe deals with partner link probably more than anybody. So, Joe, you want to talk about one of the last greatest features of PK Encrypt?
sure. Thanks, Tate. PartnerLink is a program we came up with some time ago to allow our PK Encrypt customers to securely exchange data with their business partners. And as you can see from the diagram, it uses a hub and spoke kind of model. You as the PK Encrypt PKWARE customer are the hub, and your business partners are at the end of the spokes. And what this allows you to do is to create securely encrypted zip archives, send them to your partner, and the partner can open them up and they can create securely encrypted zip archives to send back to you. Now, the neat thing about this is if your partners don't have any software to deal with strongly encrypted zip archives, we have the PartnerLink software that for your partners is free. And also the support for that software is also free. My staff and I were happy to help our sponsors and their partners set this up and get the two-way data flowing securely. So then this is, it's all based on zip archives. The business flow really quick is you as a sponsor are going to create a zip archive. You're going to sign it with a certificate. When the partner gets it, the PartnerLink software, it doesn't need a license key at all. It works without that. What it does is it'll take the archive, verify the signature that it came from you, and then they can process it. And then when they create a zip archive, the PartnerLink software knows that you are the sponsor. It'll create this encrypted with your certificate, so they can only create zip archives for you, and only you can decrypt it. So, with this data transfer, either direction, the data is 100% encrypted through the entire process. And Tate, did I leave anything out?
No, I don't know if I heard you say this or not, but so naturally, this is technically a one-way transmission, but naturally the partner can send encrypted and signed data back to the sponsor.
Yes.
However, that setup, the partner and the sponsor will actually need to coordinate activities. But when it's sponsored to partner, this is the big easy button, right? So if you're the one responsible, again, if you're sending that data out to the Treasury Department, a clearinghouse, or just another business partner, this really does answer the call. The big challenge becomes, it's one thing to have, if you've got 100, it's you and 100 business partners, and you've got to send them on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, whatever it might be. You actually have to send them some type of sensitive report or some type of information that needs to be protected. There are several big challenges that come into play. Number one, hey guys, 101 people trying to decide what method of protection you should use, right? So that's the first challenge. And then if you all decide, and I'm going to argue, and Joe can reaffirm this, probably the single most popular method for protecting data that we see is OpenPGP, or at least it's the call that Joe gets the most, I think, right? And yeah, so I think it's an extremely popular method. So right, so if you all decide that you want to use OpenPGP, that's great. But then the bigger challenge comes, all right, well, what piece of software are we going to use? right? And that's where the quibbling starts. And that's where, so if you can walk into that virtual room with a big old easy button and say, hey guys, we've got a solution to this, we can use PKWARE's partner link. And it doesn't matter if they're on IBM-i, if they're on the mainframe, if they're on a Linux box, an endpoint, whatever, we have a compatible solution that partner can come out to the PKWARE support team, download the appropriate, they can download the appropriate software for their platform, and then work with Joe's team to get that product installed, set up, and drop that SDP that you see here on the screen into their new installation. And pretty much so, just like that, that customer is off and running, exchanging encrypted and signed data with their sponsor. But another point to make here is that naturally, if any one of those partners happens to have a fully licensed version of PK Encrypt on their own, they can send encrypted data, signed encrypted data all day long to each other, to the sponsor. They can do whatever they want as long as they've gone through the process of exchanging keys, right? But outside of that, the sponsor link solution really, or the partner link solution really is designed to solve big challenges and trying to coordinate encrypted solutions when you have to send off-prem. And, and Joe can confirm this, I think our largest deployment of partner link, it's kind of amazing, but I believe it is in Japan. And I believe it's close to 4,000 partners that they're sending this encrypted data out to. But that's how big of a challenge that we were able to solve for them in doing this. Now, Joe, did I miss anything on that? I think I was trying to cover all the little blanks in there.
No, I think you get it all. The one nice thing about this is the partners don't have to worry about certificates. The software with the SDP is really all they need to install. The main way of encrypting going to partners is usually passphrase. We can do certificate encryption. It can be set up. There are a couple partners that do that, but generally speaking, you're sending passphrase encrypted zip archives. Yep. And yeah, it is the easy button after it's, you set it up and it just works.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I guess for the sake of time here, let's see here. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Thank you so much for that, Joe. All right. So naturally, we told you about all the cool things that PK Encrypt is capable of doing, certainly at a high level. We've got only 30 minutes to do this, but naturally, we talked about all the post-quantum crypto, the 4770, etc. Well, naturally, it's important for us to share with you what's happening on our roadmap. And for our faithful, dedicated, and loyal customers who've been running PKZIP unabated for decades, man, we certainly do say thank you for that. We also want to let you know that we're finally getting back around to really putting in a lot of new features and capabilities into the product that really have been, I guess, just kind of been thirsty for. So alas, they're starting to be here. Naturally, post-quantum crypto is extremely important for us. So you're going to be seeing a new 17.0 version coming out this year that's going to really start, number one, deprecating some older algorithms, while at the same time reinforcing some of the new framework. PKCS11 and IBM FIPS mode are really going to start rolling in. And then right as we get to the end, Q4 2025 is when PKWARE is going to start to, you'll start seeing fruits of our labor, where we'll start rolling out some PQC items before the end of this year with full delivery of Q2 of 2026. So like I said, there's a lot of things that are happening this year and continuing on through next year. But naturally, with all things PKWARE, everything intends to be fully 100% cross-platform compatible, continuing to serve that need in this particular industry. But we know that with the IBM-i cryptographic services, disk encryption, we know that you got the auxiliary storage pool encryption as well. These things we continue to want to work more deeply with. And again, now that we've got kind of an upgraded chunk of hardware using 7.6, I think there's a lot of great things that PKWARE is going to be able to do and bring to our customer base in the near term. And hopefully you guys will find that that certainly does meet your particular needs. So again, now really the question comes back to, so why should I upgrade? Why are you guys pushing this so hard? What's going on? Well, we did talk about that, mandates, there's certainly a sense of urgency, right? We know that the mandates have strengthened and there's more onus on data-centric security where the security persistently stays with the data no matter where it goes, right? And that's that end-to-end encryption stuff we're talking about. And then finally, PQC is actually here. We've been talking about it for years, but alas, it's finally here. The day has come. So the question becomes, why should I upgrade? I don't like upgrades. They make me itchy. They make me nervous. I have to call people. I have a few good reasons why that you should do this. But you know what? Nobody really will ultimately do this better than Joe Nagel. But just real quick, you guys are going to see that really for the last 20 years, right? 21 years, PK Encrypt has been on the market. Maybe we were ahead of our time, but I think, as you know, PK Encrypt is built on PKZIP. And then for the last 20 years, we've been just reinforcing, making more reliable, more stable our PK Encrypt solution. So certainly, there's a lot of reasons why I understand that these things make you nervous, but I think everybody understands that PK Encrypt is built on PKZIP. So all that core zip functionality still exists within the PK Encrypt product. So now that we've exchanged, I said in 2006 is when this partner link thing came out that Joe just discussed. So I think, we solve for the exchanging of critical data with external business partners through partner link, crypto capabilities. And we've done that now for the last 19 years. So with that being said, now I'm going to turn this back over to Joe. And Joe's going to kind of explain why this is an easy button of an upgrade.
I want you all to look at this screenshot very closely, and it's important to do that. And think to yourself, was this created with PKZIP or with PK Encrypt? Just think about that for a minute. Look at the screen. I mean, if you've created stuff with PKZIP, see if there's any nuances. Okay. Now the answer is it doesn't matter which created it. That was a trick question. Your current PKZIP commands can be fully processed with PK Encrypt. PK Encrypt is a one-to-one replacement of your current PKZIP libraries. When you get PK Encrypt, whenever anybody upgrades our products, we recommend they install it to a test library, do your due diligence, run your tests, and then when you're satisfied that it does what you need it to do, it can be put in place of your current PKZIP library. Now, the neat thing is if your batch jobs are pointing to a specific library name, you can put this in place without making any code changes. You just rename your current PKZIP library, kind of move it to the side, then rename the PK Encrypt library to that production library name. That's it. You put PK Encrypt in place without one code change. It's that easy. And once you have PK Encrypt in place for your PKZIP jobs, you can start looking at how you can expand and use more of the features that PK Encrypt has now, specifically with encryption. And this command you see on the screen is just the basic zip job. You have an archive you're creating and a file you're putting in it. Now, with one additional parameter with a passphrase, you can create a passphrase encrypted AES 256 protected zip archive with just one additional parameter. Or if you want to do certificate encryption, you can use one additional parameter to encrypt it with X.509 certificates. It's really that easy. So Tate, did I forget anything there?
No, I really thank you for underscoring that. I mean, it's, we basically just want to reinforce the fact that this is really no different than like a release upgrade. It's, as you've probably known for all these years, every time that there's a new PKZIP version that comes out, the exact same version of PK Encrypt comes out. And I don't think you have to ask yourself why. I mean, obviously PKZIP, the core of it sits inside. So like I said, it literally is a tit for tat swap of products. And again, if you're not changing your library name, which I don't know why you would hard code a version into your library name that you added to the library list, but nonetheless, if you haven't done anything silly like that, this is a no quibbles upgrade, and you probably won't note any difference. But the whole point is, once you finally do this upgrade and you are happy that all of your PKZIP batch jobs are running just as they have, running under PKZIP, and are now performing perfectly fine under PK Encrypt. Once you reach that milestone, that's when you start turning your attention to PQC and use PK Encrypt as a springboard to start enabling end-to-end persistent encryption with your new PK Encrypt deployment. So that's really what this screen is all about, and hopefully we've really emphasized and sold to you that this really is a no quibbles, easy upgrade, and one that you really should consider doing as soon as you are able to. But so why feel like you're all alone? Just to let you know that while they're, I feel like PKWARE is kind of ahead of its time, almost 21 years ahead of its time when it comes to strong encryption adoption. And I know that there's a lot of customers that have been a little concerned about enabling encryption, especially on your IBM-I. But at the same time, we've been doing this for over 2 decades. And, we know that 21 of those top 25 banks have been using PK Encrypt really for the past 21 years. And, obviously PKWARE plays extremely well in this particular space. But the one thing that we try to keep track of and we're really proud of is the tens of millions of transactions and files that are encrypted every single day on this platform with PK Encrypt. So really, hats off to those who have already made the jump, and we understand that there's still a lot of resistance because a lot of people have not, a lot of organizations have not gone through all of the planning to enable this. But at the same time, that's what PKWARE is here for. We're experts in this arena. So, you get yourself onto PK Encrypt, and when you're actually ready to take that step and launch your end-to-end persistent encryption journey, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to get you started and on your way to encrypting those data transfers. So I see that Sarah has just come on the screen, which always tells me we are at the end of our time. So I'm going to be quiet and turn this over to Sarah. Sarah?
Yeah. So thanks, guys. That was great. What a great overview, and thank you for that. So we actually don't have any questions in the queue today. If anyone on the line has any questions later on, please reach out to your customer success team, reach out to me, reach out to Tate, reach out to Joe. Any of us are available for you at any point. Otherwise, have a great rest of the week. And again, thank you, Tate. Thank you, Joe.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Take care. All right, bye.